Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, you guys, to AG University podcast. Happy Wednesday. Happy whatever day you're tuning in. I am just so excited to be connecting with you in this space, and I'm so happy you're here. So, I thought this would be a fun episode to do, a little different. We're switching things up, but a monumental moment has just occurred in my life. By the time this has aired, I will officially be a married woman. So thank you guys for giving me a break last week. I had so many things popping up. We had to take an off week for AG University right before the wedding. And today is actually Sunday, October 13th. So I'm recording this 6 days before my wedding. By the time this airs, I will be a few days married. But I thought this would be fun. I love to do like kind of a chit chatty, my thoughts leading up to the wedding, what I'm doing, what I'm preparing, all of the things. And then we can do an official wedding breakdown. Because I wanted to share like the spiritual aspects, the fun aspects, some thoughts around my vows, all of the things. So I wanted to share that with you guys before, even though you'll have already seen stuff on social media. That's okay. I'm giving you my before thoughts, and then you can tune back in and I'll do my after thoughts, and I'll kind of do a wedding run through all the things that I experienced, how I prepared. I don't know. I'll just give you both perspectives because I think it's really fun, even if you've already watched most of the wedding unfold on social media. Future AG, I hope you crushed it. Sharing and showing all the things on social media. So, whatever you guys saw, amazing. But for those of you who haven't seen anything, I can give you my before pre-wedding AG perspective on this episode. And also, like I said, some things that I've done to mentally prepare my mind, body, and spirit, because it is a really special union and a really monumental time in my life, and a monumental time in anyone's life who is even interested in getting married. Or even if you're already married, you could still do some of these things, if you ever want to renew your vows or just do them for the heck of it. I am such a person that believes we are here to celebrate always. Now that Austin and I are going to be married, I have so many different ways that I'm like, I want to reenact certain, I think, vows and ceremonies and things over the years, just to keep some celebration in the relationship. Sometimes I feel like we get so serious in life that I really feel like we have to create moments where we can celebrate any milestone. I'm such a celebratory creature. I love a celebration. That's why I'm so excited. I'm so nervous, which I did not expect to be nervous. I told Austin yesterday, we were driving to get tacos, me, Austin, and Zane. And I also keep telling Zane, I'm like, Zane, I'm going to read you a letter and vows at our wedding. And Zane is my stepson. He's 13. And he's only been to one wedding before, and he said he was like 5. So I'm not sure if he understands sort of not the gravity of the situation, but I think that it might be more emotional for all of us than we realize, especially Austin and I. I don't even know if Austin is prepared, because like he'll go to someone's wedding he barely knows and he'll cry. So, and I'm the same way. Weddings make me so emotional. My sister was on the phone with me this morning and she's like, I don't know why, but I wanted to cry my entire wedding ceremony. But it's a really happy cry, but it's an overwhelming feeling, but in a good way. And I'm like, oh shoot, that's why I'm nervous, because I have gotten so, I would say, way more emotional in my older age. I'm not old, but you know what I mean. As I've gotten older, I have gotten, like, my 30s, I have gotten way more connected to my emotions. I'm a Cancer. I was born on 7/7, and I always felt that I didn't always identify as a Cancer because they're always like, oh, an emotional wellspring. And I wouldn't say I'm actually a super emotional person. I feel like I'm very level. Like, my emotions are very steady. Um, which is good, but sometimes I used to be like, man, I'd love a good cry right now. Like, that sounds so cathartic and beautiful and delightful, just a good release. And I've never been like a big crier. But lately, as all of this wedding stuff is approached, even our engagement, I did a whole engagement episode. If you guys ever want to hear like how we met and our engagement story, you can search AG Gets Engaged and it's on there. But all of that was so much more emotion than I was expecting. And granted, I was super, uber, uber surprised. And when you like go to a surprise party and everyone yells surprise at you and you cry, you're like, I don't even know I'm crying. You just yelled surprise at me and I'm like happy, I'm overwhelmed. I don't even know what the emotion is. I don't know. But anyways, I have gotten way more in touch with my emotions, which I'm sure is a good thing. I'm sure it's healthier than being numb or cut off from emotions. But now, as I have been preparing, so I wrote, this is how the ceremony in my brain is going to go now. Day of, we shall see. But Austin and I are not doing a first look. I have nothing against first looks, but I would say Austin he's a romantic, and I think he really wants to see me for the first time at the end of the aisle, as do I. Like, I have always had that. If he was like, oh, I might be too nervous, my makeup artist and some other people in the wedding industry said to do a first look really helps get the nerves out, and maybe like the if you get like overwhelmed or crying or all the things, it's just a calm. But Austin and I are both like, wait, I just feel like you get so few really good surprises in life. Like, we love a surprise moment. My engagement was so surprised and so shocked. And like I said, there's just not that many times where you're just absolutely floored to your knees. Granted, this could backfire and we could both absolutely lose it at the altar. I don't know. Come back next week. I'll tell you what happened. But we're like, we want to be surprised. He wants to see me the first time. Like, he's been so like, I don't want to know with detail. I don't want to know with shred. I don't know what your looks are. Like, I don't want to know anything. I want to experience it all raw for the first time. And I've been the same way too. I'm like, I want to shock this guy to I want his I want his pants to fall off. He's just absolutely blown away by seeing me for the first time at the end of the aisle. Um, so I know some of you guys might be like, we did a first look and we're so glad we did it. My sister did, and she's like, we were just too nervous. My sister also is not a public speaking girly. I love public speaking. Obviously, I talk for a living. So I told Austin, yeah, this I have so many thoughts. This is going to be so chit chatty and all over. Stay with me. But I was telling Austin we were going to get on a date night to get tacos. That's what I was saying. And I told him, I'm like, nothing could be more scary for me than my first event, getting over doing a live reading in front of an audience. That was just so not scary, but it's vulnerable. It's intimate. There's always pressure that you want to do a good job, but you also want to be this like clear container for people and have your heart open, and you never know how it's going to be received. And of course there's just, yeah, it's vulnerable, and it's really putting myself out there. And so doing that in September before our wedding in October, I feel helped me, because there's nothing you can do to prepare. You can't write a speech. You just open the records and allow whatever comes through to come through. And the good news is for my wedding, I have a speech written and prepared, and I can read off a piece of paper. So I told myself, I was like, Anna Grace, you've done some really scary things over the past year. And in terms of public speaking, your wedding, you've got this. And I was telling Austin that. He's like, yeah, you're right. Like, that was a really big feat. Like, just a new thing, putting myself in a new situation. So that was September, my live event. And I'm really glad I did that, because I'm like, surely my wedding can't be scarier. However, when I tap into like, I always say I can psychically feel into situations before they happen. Everybody can, but when I like psychically tap into the weekend, my wedding weekend, this weekend, the energy feels so potent. So like, it's a very high energy. And I don't even like to say, like, it doesn't feel nervous. It feels very excited. It feels very elevated. It feels very different. And so that's why I'm like, okay, I just need to keep myself grounded, present, go slow. I've written my vows. So I'm trying to decide if I should share my vows kind of now, a little bit on the precursor. I might wait until after to do the after recap. I am going to share like a story time that I'm sharing with my wedding audience. That is my vows. Of course, you guys, I went home this weekend. That's why mom, I'm like, okay, I might be talking a lot during the ceremony. She's like, we would expect nothing less. My entire life, I've been an incredible talkative kid. Fun fact, as a baby, I started talking really early. Like, my parents said they were kind of freaked out, baby genius style, where I'm this little tiny baby, because I was very small. I was very petite. It was kind of the runt. But I had this very, very eloquent vocabulary. And my mom said, no baby talk. I had kind of the same huskier, deep voice, but like as a baby, she's like, it was truly jarring. We would take you places and you'd be like, hello, waitress, may I have a glass of lemonade? And they'd be like, whoa, how old is she? So yeah, just like a funny story, that little inside joke my family has is that I was just kind of a weird, very small baby, but loved to talk. Just always been a talker. And my dad's like, you know what? There's never been a dull moment. I'm like, yeah, I can't come to my wedding and not say a few words. I mean, I gotta. So my best friend Tiana is going to be officiating us. And She's also been on the podcast before. She's so well spoken. You can go listen to her episode. You can search Tiana Gidley, AG University, and pull up her episode. But she's such a introspective, light being. Just she's a little fairy, magical fairy. And so the theme of our wedding is a fairy garden. It's going to be, this is the da 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 da, drum roll please, big spoiler, in my parents' backyard. That's why I have not told anyone the location at all. I wanted to keep the location sacred. So my entire life, I've lived in that same home. I kept telling people, I was like, I was basically born in this house. Not literally, I was born at the hospital, but my whole entire life existence, all of my memories from as early as I can remember have taken place in my childhood home, the Newell residence. And my parents live in Memphis, Tennessee. They've been married for 40 years. And yeah, we've just always lived in this home. Every memory has taken place there. It's such a special, sacred place. It was my mom's idea, actually, when Austin proposed. I was not interested in getting married in the Catholic Church. I was raised Catholic, but I didn't want to do a traditional hour-long Catholic ceremony. My sister did that. So my mom got her taste for a traditional Catholic wedding with my sister. And I was like, I want to do something different. I really just want to be connected to nature, be outside. And Austin's felt the same way. He grew up also in the Baptist church, but we neither one of us felt like, oh, we have to do a church ceremony. We're like, we want to be somewhere lovely, but somewhere meaningful. And getting married in my parents' backyard in the garden. So in the garden growing up, my sister and I always called it the secret garden. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie. There was a movie called The Secret Garden. My sister loved it, but we always would play in this garden. And it was the first time that I genuinely had imaginary friends that were fairies. Now I wonder, I'm like, were they actually fairies? Who knows? Probably magical creatures. And I just played so hard. We'd build forts and we'd have tea parties. And it was just the most full circle moment for Austin and I to decide to get married there. I'm like, this makes perfect sense. So yes, Tiana is my officiant. We're getting married in my parents' backyard. I really tried to protect the privacy. Like all of my partnerships with Mented, we would make up fake locations. We did fake drawings. We did fake dates. Like I did everything to throw people off because yeah, it's just the most special place to me in the world. And also I want there to be some privacy around my family's home and, all the things. Just I also just wanted it to be a surprise. Again, I love a surprise. And I didn't think people would maybe expect it. Maybe they did. Who knows? But I feel people thought I was going to do something, grandiose and over the top. Not that my wedding is not going to be grand for it to be at my family's home. My mom and my sister have worked so hard, and my wedding planner. Shout out to Betsy. She's incredible. All of my vendors for everything will be tagged if anyone wants to go stalk and creep. Absolutely. But they've worked so hard. I was the one that originally was like, I don't know if I can pull off a wedding in October because my life and my travel schedule and just everything had gotten so busy. And my mom and my sister were like, we're going to make this happen by golly. And so they absolutely have been working day and night. My father has been planting flowers for a year. He has been landscaping. He has been doing so much. My family has been working so hard. There was times I wanted to tell people that's where I was getting married because I wanted to show the links that my family was going through to make this wedding happen for me. Is just, even that is so beautiful and magical to have the support that I do from my mom and my dad and my sister, because obviously they were all there. I've been in Florida, I would go home and help when I could, but Tiana's gonna be the officiant. Basically what I did, so I'll share a couple of rituals. I'm just giving you guys chit chatty details. I know you'll have seen some of this on social media, but like I said, I love getting double perspective, a before and after perspective. So when I went home this past weekend, so I was home for a few days to do my final dress fitting. You do like one fitting legit, like a week out from the wedding, just to make sure everything fits perfectly, because I don't know about you guys, but I feel like my size fluctuates all the time. I've been so nervous about my dress because depending where I'm at in my cycle, like my boobs will be a different size. There's just so many things happening. So I tried to wait to the very, very, very last minute. So I was like, I do not want to be pulling on my dress, or like I want it to lay perfectly. And as of right now, it is absolutely perfect. So that was great. So I went home, helped with my family, and I had a day where we really did work around the clock, because when it's at your own home, there's so much to do in terms of getting, we bought all of our tablecloths. They're very colorful. I wanted a very, very colorful wedding. And, we're steaming things and we're cleaning the plates and we're cleaning the glasses because everything is ours. So it's just a lot more preparation. My mom was like, I definitely don't know if I would have done it knowing how much more work it would be than to do it at a venue. Cause you're like, I was like, oh, this is great. We're going to save money on a venue. But then you end up doing so much more work because venues are supported for weddings versus my family's home. So there was a bit more work, and it's been really fun. I got some really good core memories just spending time with my family, getting the house ready. So, anyways, I had one day where my mom was off furniture shopping because if you know my mom, she is truly a workhorse. She's a generator in human design, and that woman is going a million miles an hour at all times. She's always giving me like I would wake up with a to-do list in hand. I'm like, oh, mom, give me a breath, then I can get going. But she had one day where she went shopping, so I had a few hours alone at the house. And this is what I did to prepare. I went in the backyard, I put down a little blanket, I had my notebook, said my opening Akashic Records prayer, and I just guided myself through a really beautiful ceremony, setting a sacred container. I literally energetically set up a dome over my entire backyard so that everyone was sort of encapsulated in this, yeah, little protective, yummy, cushy cocoon that I've created. So I knew everyone was going to be sitting back there, and I started it over the garden and put it over the entire home. So it's like, I know there's going to be a lot of energy. And I highly suggest for any important event in your life, doesn't have to be a wedding, could be your wedding, could be like anything where you feel you're going to be nervous or there's going to be an audience or people watching you. This is a great practice, a great technique to do. But I started to imagine there was this beautiful dome all over me. And I like to give it colors and I like to give it intention. And so I just said, I want everyone to feel really regulated, was one thing. I was like, I want everyone's nervous systems to just feel really regulated, really at peace. But also, I want them to feel like connected to their heart space and just open to love and open to experiencing feelings of love while they're in the presence of our ceremony. And you can infuse your little bubble, your little dome with whatever you want. I wrapped all of my guests. I just imagined they were sitting there, obviously. This is all visualization work. I wrapped them all in just a beautiful hug from me and set intentions for how, I hoped everyone would feel, and just that all of our energy was just felt so safe and yummy and loving. That was the vibes. And then from there, I started imagining where I would stand at the altar and where Austin would stand and Zane. And I created little grounding cords, grounding little portals in the ground and the grass, just imagining all of our nervous energy flowing into the ground, flowing out of our bodies so that we were stable and grounded amongst so much energy. Because we really tried to stick to having a small number, but with my mom's gigantic family, everyone, our bridal party, and Austin's family, it still ended up being around 130 people, which was, we really were like, we want a small ceremony, and 130 people for a backyard wedding is a lot. Actually, I think it's 136 right now. The numbers are fluctuating all the time. Who knows who will actually show day of, but a lot of energy. So I think that's a really cool practice you can do. Just imagine, even if you can't physically go to the location, like I was able to sit and put my hands in the grass and be like, I'm creating a grounding space right here so that I know when I step here at the end of the aisle, my feet are connected to nature. That's one thing too. I am planning to walk down the aisle barefoot. Actually, it's the only plan. I don't have wedding shoes. I'm going to walk down the aisle barefoot. And I kept telling everyone, I was like, you guys, garden fairies don't wear shoes. So this is a garden fairy themed wedding, and yeah, no shoes. So I'm gonna walk down the aisle barefoot, just be connected to the grass and the ground, and just imagine all of my nervous energy going into the ground. And I feel like that's such a good practice for you to do before any major event in your life. You can visualize the area, visualize the space, or go there and just set up a really beautiful container. You can set up to connect. Like I was just literally imagining sending love to each and every one of my guests. I was sending them love on their journey and protection in their travels. I was sending love and healing and acceptance to every single person there, because it's like one of those things. It's a huge event. I know everyone has different political beliefs and it's an election year and blah blah blah, and I was like, let's, for one day, let's all just put all that aside. Let's all just be loving and supportive and accepting of everyone. So I was just like imagining all of these intentions and blessings and prayers for all of our guests, and safe travels, and just literally just like really praying over the whole space, making it as sacred as I could be. I was connected. There's a huge tree. So instead of having like an arc, or what am I starting to say? Arch? Yeah. I don't know, arc, an arch, or like a floral thing where we stand out. We are doing a wedding tree. It's the tree that's been planted in my parents' yard my entire life. It's been there forever. And we're going to wrap it in florals and call it the wedding tree. So Austin and I are going to stand under the wedding tree. And I just connected with the tree, and I put my hands on the tree, connected with the roots. It was just like really asking the tree to help ground our energy and just hold a beautiful space, and just like thanking the tree. Trees have consciousness, okay? Trees and plants, I saw a video the other day how they really respond to us positively and negatively. So I always talk to my plants. Talk to your home plants. Tell them they're beautiful and you love them. But I was talking to the tree, and I was just like, thank you. And like, thanks for holding this space, and just said all kinds of things. And that's the thing. Like, I don't want to tell you guys everything that I say, because I don't want you to like, you have to say that. I want you to invite in creativity if you ever do a blessing of an area or a space, and just cleared the energy, set the tone for love and heart openness and all those beautiful things. And I just meditated in the space and just sat there and just imagined everything going as beautifully as possible. That's all you can do, right? So I wanted to share that practice with you guys, because I know walking down the aisle, I am going to be super nervous. Going back to me telling my parents I am chatty, chatty, chatty Kathy always, but I got home and I was like, okay, mom. So I wrote a vow. Oh, that's what I was telling you guys, how I anticipate the ceremony going. I wrote a letter for Zane. So we're going to read a letter to Zane. And before we do that, Tiana's going to do a group meditation. So we're like a very small meditation. We have a string quartet that's going to play music while we do like truly like a 90-second meditation, because I know not everyone is going to be like a big meditator, and that's okay. But we were like, we want everyone to like imagine sending loving energy to us in this space, do a little meditation, just kind of like get everyone grounded. Tiana's going to guide them through that. Then she's going to obviously say some words. I'm going to read a letter to Zane. Then Austin's going to read a letter to me with his vows. And then I'm going to read a letter to him with our vows. So that's kind of the flow of the ceremony. And on my last two flights to and from Memphis, I wrote my vows to Austin, and then I also wrote the vows to Zane. I started literally like for like 2 weeks before, I would just like think about reading vows to Zane. Like I'd be driving somewhere, like just miscellaneous thinking, and I would start crying. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to get it together. Like I'm just thinking about it and I start crying. Like it's just, Zane is so wholesome. I can't, I can't even, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to look at him in the face and say these things, but I could do it. um, so I prepared my letter for him, prepared my letter for Austin. On the plane, crying. Get home, read them to my mom and sister, because we needed to time the ceremony just to get a good timeline for the live musicians who are going to be playing. So the first time I timed my letter, like I did a story time and then vows at the end to Austin, it was 7 minutes long. Mom's like, okay, that's too long. I was like, people are going to come to our wedding and be like, so Andres literally talked the whole ceremony. But I wanted a kind of a longer ceremony, like not super long, but like 15 or 20 minutes, because some weddings you go to, they literally walk down the aisle and then like turn around and walk off, because I feel like people get nervous or uncomfortable being in front of a crowd and they want to like get it over with as fast as possible. But I was like, you guys, I literally have to say some of these things, because I didn't want to do a first look with Austin. I know some bride and grooms will do like a letter reading to each other before, but I was like, this is the one time where I feel like professing your love in front of a crowd is kind of part of the ritual. It's like very sacred. It's a part of this whole, weddings to me feel so portal energy, like Harry Potter witchcraft vibes. Like you're gathering, you're wearing white, there's so many elements and things coming in, there's rings, and it's like a soul binding union. There's a lot to it. And I was like, I really want to do the letters in front of everyone. So anyways, I was able to condense my letter and my vows to about 4 minutes, which honestly, you guys, is only 2.5 pages long. Maybe I'm just reading really slow. It's not that long. I typed 2.5 pages though. 2.5 pages written would probably be a little bit shorter, but typed 2.5 pages, and then Zane's is a page and a half. So I'm gonna be talking kind of a lot, but the reason I'm like, that's okay. I was born to talk a lot, but I am just so, who could be so sure how I'm gonna get through this? I'm like, I might get up there and be like, this was a grave mistake. I am sobbing through this whole thing. Everyone's like, please, someone help her get through this. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, really excited. Really like not even nervous. I just feel like it's a high. I really do. I feel like it's just like a wedding day high that I will not know how to describe to you guys until I get back on the mic next week. So I'm really excited. When I went into the Akashic Records last week, because I was just kind of connecting with the space and nature. By the way, you can open the Akashic Records for locations. I think that's a cool, fun thing, like people, places, things, and pets. Um, who knows what will always come through, but you can connect in that way because everything carries a story or a history. And I always have a How to Read the Akashic Records course. It's linked in the show notes of every episode. But yeah, so I opened the Akashic Records for the space. And I just kept seeing how much of an activation a wedding is and how much Austin and I both we're going to have a shift in our lens is what I kept seeing, like seeing each other through this new lens, which I just thought was really beautiful and exciting because I really genuinely do believe our relationship is going to change a lot once we get married in a really positive way. I am not someone that's like, I don't want to feed into anybody's delusions. It's like, oh, you should get married and your relationship will be better. It's not like that. We have a very, very, very healthy, stable, consistent, loving relationship now. But I think that I just feel like it's gonna feel a little different. And I don't know what that is yet. So I can't wait to report back in a yeah, I don't know, in a few weeks. I'll let you guys know what my initial thoughts are on actually like doing the ceremony and feeling some shifts because it is a time for you to really open your hearts to each other. Like I just think in your day-to-day life, we don't have enough moments where we say how we really feel deeply and intimately about people. And I'm talking about like just people in general. That's kind of why I love a wedding. It's like a whole wedding dedicated to memories and moments and people telling stories about you and things that you just sort of forget about, or you're like, wow, that's something they really remembered about me. I think it's just a really beautiful way to celebrate, yes, but also connect. So I'm just, yeah, I'm really excited. And I think that it's going to shift our relationship in a really positive way that I'm really excited about. And I think there's just that feeling too of just being a team and being really like united. Um, not that we weren't before, but y'all know what I'm saying. I think it just feels different. I think you really take things more seriously. So, um, those are sort of my pre-wedding thoughts. One thing I also channeled was, um, I channeled this months ago and then it kept coming back. I was like, I need to do it because I was like, I really want to support my skin in the best way. So I posted this on my Instagram, but the pre-wedding skincare routine that I've been doing that I'm obsessed with lately is two things, two ingredients. And what I saw on the records, this was like one of the most ancient practices. I even feel like I was connecting with like Egyptian times, like long, long ago. And they were calling it, this was like liquid gold for your skin. I was like, liquid gold, tell me more. And what was funny was that this came through in a reading when I wasn't particularly asking for like a recipe or a remedy. I was thinking maybe just like rest or, whatever. And I channeled this so randomly. That's when I always love. That's when I know it was like super divine because it just came to me so randomly. It was not in my vocabulary. By the way, I didn't invent this. This has like been around forever. I'm not taking claims to that. It's just the way that it came into my existence was so divine and fun and magical. But mixing turmeric and honey to make a face mask. It has been the best thing ever. Like I have really gotten back to doing just simple things before the wedding, trying to wear less makeup. Honestly, I've been kind of looking like a scrub on the podcast lately because I've been just trying not to do too much makeup, just not go over the top with everything, just let my skin breathe so that on the day of the wedding, I'll just feel fresh and glowy. But the turmeric honey mask. So when I first started making it, I was putting way too much turmeric because it is a little messy. You got to be careful, but it is so healing for your skin barrier. There was so much, yeah, just like healing that I felt like was happening with my skin using this concoction. I went to the farmer's market and got some local honey, and then I just found some good organic turmeric powder. Yeah, like I said, you don't need a lot of it. A little bit of turmeric goes a long way. And when you first take the mask off, it kind of looks like your skin is maybe stained yellow. It won't be. I used a little bit of micellar water to clear the yellowness off because I was accidentally using too much turmeric. Even just honey. Honey is so good for your skin. It is so healing. It is nature's antibiotic. I love going. I have a specific farm that I love to support. Putting a little honey on your face, I feel like solves all of our problems. And mixing it with turmeric is next level. I have never felt that, I don't know, I'm supporting my skin more than I have by making this face mask. But like I said, do it at night. Do it when you're in like scrubby clothes. Kind of almost treat it like you would if you were to put on self tanner or get a spray tan, because if the turmeric honey drips anywhere, it could get on your clothes, and turmeric is just like pretty potent. I'll do it like in my robe before I get in the shower and just rinse it off. I haven't left it on super long, like maybe like 10, 15 minutes. One time I was watching TV, left it on for 30 minutes, but the honey does start to get warm on your skin and it might drip a little, or maybe it's just the honey I'm using. I don't know. I wanted to give a little bit of context because I feel like I just love to share remedies that I get from the Akashic Records. And you can't go wrong with turmeric and honey. You know, nature is our ultimate healer. So, turmeric and honey, you don't need a lot of turmeric. Put it on, and then I'll just rinse off in the shower and just very gently wash my face. I sometimes will do the micellar water before I shower, sometimes after, whatever. You can wash your face off in the sink. But if you're like, oh my gosh, my skin looks kind of yellow because of the turmeric, don't panic. Someone messaged me that. They're like, wait, how do you do the turmeric honey face mask? So hopefully that cleared up any questions for you guys, because I find it's such a helpful, supportive way, especially for anyone who has struggled with hormonal acne. My golly, that is, I feel like I'm finally on the other side of it, and it was a battle, but I wanted to offer that little wedding prep support. And this could be for anyone in any phase of life, just like wanting to feel supportive for their skin, just for any major life event. Other than that, I really did not do anything crazy to prepare for this wedding. I feel my body just wanted to rest. I think a lot of people are like, I'm going to work out and eat healthy and do all the things before wedding. And I do think there is just a smidge of toxicity around the whole wedding prep culture. But listen, to everybody, everybody's journey is their own. I'm not here to judge. I get it. It's a big day with a lot of eyes on you, and you do whatever makes you feel your best on your wedding day. But I could not have prepared less, besides just taking care of my skin, trying to get as much sleep as I can, and eating as many whole foods as possible. That was really all I did. Our travel to Italy, I had been traveling so much leading up to the wedding. You guys probably heard in the last few episodes. I just felt like I chronically had a stuffy nose or was getting sick. I was with the girls. Zane had back to school cold. Like, I was just getting beat down. I was like, I don't have the literal time, space, or energy to be doing any crazy things besides walk, get sunshine, drink a lot of water, do my turmeric honey mask, and be nice to myself. And that's like the best advice I could give you before your wedding. You really, I think that people overcomplicate it so much. And even with my hair and makeup, I've really been like, I just want to look as close to me as possible. I know when you get hair and makeup done, they do a lot more makeup than probably what you would normally wear on a daily basis, but you need it to last for like 15 hours or something crazy. And I'm like, that's totally fine. But I really am trying to stick with being as true to me as possible. I also decided to heck with wearing white for everything. I wore colorful outfits for a lot of my bridal events, like my rehearsal dinner. Found this beautiful rose quartz dress and put rose quartz crystals. They're going to be all over the tables, and just really like staying true to me and not having to do so many traditional quote unquote wedding things. And I had to sit my mom down with and tell her that, because she's 70. She is a traditional Southern woman. So I was like, Mom, it's okay. Because she kept going, well, traditionally, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, Mom, this is my wedding. We make the rules. We can do whatever we want. It's at your house. Like, no one is making rules. We make the rules. It can be whatever we want. So for my bridesmaids brunch the day before the wedding, I plan on wearing a hot pink dress. You know, I think it's fun to remind you guys. Like, I literally had to be like, wait a minute. I have free will. I can wear whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. I'm going for a really regal look when I walk down the aisle, and I stumbled upon that. It just came together. My dress is, I forget I can talk about the dress now. It's been like so tight-lipped because I just didn't want to leak any details. I wanted everyone to be surprised. But my dress itself, the bodice was really, I felt traditional. I just felt it just fit me so beautifully. I really wanted some crazier dresses, like something over the top and just ridiculous with like a headpiece. But when I put them on, it was like the dress was wearing me. I was not wearing the dress. They were just taking over me. And I was like, you know what? maybe I just embrace my goddess energy and I just want to show up and be me and be seen and not have so many things on me that are like distracting, even though like I love to make a statement and be crazy and over the top. So I was very surprised by that. I will say, wedding dress shopping, I expected to be in something outlandish, crazy, ridiculous. And then when I put on those things, they did not make any sense at all. Everyone was in a unanimous, like I had a whole group with me when I was trying on dresses, and everyone was in a unanimous decision that this was the dress. There was no questions asked, but they let me come to my own conclusion. So I had a really simple dress. And then I ended up custom making sleeves and a cape for the dress that I don't even know how I came up with these ideas. I am someone that did not Pinterest wedding things before I got married. I wanted to go in with a really blank canvas, and I really wanted to be intuitive and select things that felt true to my soul, to my spirit, and to Austin's too. I always feel like you have to account for the person that you're going to marry. Like maybe back in the day before I met him, I might have had an idea of how my wedding would look, but this was completely different. It was vivacious and bold and exploding with colors and kind of funky and eclectic. And that's just so me. And also, even my parents' house is very funky and eclectic. Like the living room walls are lime green and it's just crazy art my parents have collected from all over the world. And it's a very unique space for sure. So anyways, bringing all that together, I didn't have a lot of inspo. And even with the wedding dress, I went in and just said a prayer to my angels and said, please bring me the right dress. And I feel that it was the perfect dress. I cannot wait for Austin to see it. I just can't wait for his reaction. But I went with like I custom made a cape that was originally straps, but I had someone, an alterations person, help me remake it, and remake my wings. And then I say little wings, I had little shoulder wings, but then I did also find true fairy wings for my reception dress, which honestly I probably won't wear a ton, but definitely going to put on just for the sheer drama. You know, I love the drama. Am I doing 4 outfit changes? Yes, I am. I feel like a quick change person. You know, those quick change performers that perform at halftime shows at Grizzlies games and, you know, professional sporting events. That's what I'm going to be on my wedding night. I have I think I'm just going to keep my hair the exact same so that I don't have to mess with it, and then quick change into several different looks. So it's going to be fun. But see, I wouldn't have it any other way. That's my dream come true, is to just pull out all the stops. So that is my dress story. I do think, yeah, I think people are going to be surprised in the fact that it's not as crazy over the top. Carolyn is who helped me pick out my dress at Maggie Louise. She found me this little tiara and I put it on and I was like, oh yes, I want to look like a queen coming down the aisle. Like I was going for just regal goddess energy where I felt fully me versus, you know, trying to hide amongst too many things all over my head and my face and wraps and all these things. So I feel for me it was a simple but elegant approach to a wedding dress. So, you know me, I'm pretty crazy and out there with what I'll put on my body, but this yeah, this felt like unique when I was trying on wedding dresses. It was not what I was expecting. How about that? Maybe it's what guys were expecting, but not what I was expecting. So yeah, that's my wedding dress. Now that I can finally talk, it's gonna be so fun to finally actually be able to just share everything in full, which I will and I shall next week. So I hope you guys tune in to any of my content. I'll be posting lots on TikTok and Instagram. I'm so lucky that I have a beautiful team that's going to be on site helping me produce everything. I'm not going to be working too hard on my wedding day. And I can't wait for you guys to see it and experience it. And just thank you for all of the love and the warm wishes y'all have all sent me in my wedding week. And yeah, come back next week for a full different POV. Also, Austin and I are going to be doing a little mini honeymoon. We are planning on doing a full honeymoon at our 1 year anniversary. I do not know who the heck has the time, energy, or resources to. Well, we had to renovate our home. We moved. We went to Italy for Shannon's wedding, and then we had our wedding. And Austin and I had to pay for the rehearsal dinner. So, on top of all the wedding things, I was like, we simply, sir, by the time it's our honeymoon, we're gonna be honeymooning in our backyard in the pool. So we're gonna do a mini moon and just do 3 days going to 30A because it's in Florida and it's close to us, and 30A is just so magical and beautiful. So we're gonna go to 30A for a couple days and honestly just sleep and be horizontal. And then we're thinking around our 1 year anniversary, we might do a trip that is somewhere that maybe we've been dreaming. Honestly, we really just could never decide where we even wanted to go. We just knew it wasn't the right time. We couldn't continue to travel. We couldn't leave Zane. Austin couldn't take off 6 weeks of work because we were just gone for 2 weeks in Italy. You know what I mean? It was just not the right time. So that's okay. It'll continue to give us an excuse to ride this out and celebrate our wedding. We're like, oh, we're just not doing our honeymoon a year later, a year and a half later, whenever the time is right. I know we'll be guided to it. So a lot of people ask, like, what are you doing for your honeymoon? We're like, well, we're just gonna do a little mini moon and just get some alone time, just me and Austin, because honestly, we have not had very much time together leading up to this point. So I'm just really looking forward to our honeymoon and getting to recap all of these moments together, and it's just going to be so special. So yeah, I'll be off and away for a few days after the wedding as well, and then I actually have to turn around, fly to Nashville for Tiana, who's going to be officiating my wedding, her baby shower. So I'm kind of just all over the place. But then after that, I plan to sit down and lay down and sleep for maybe a week. That sounds so delightful. Alrighty, guys, that's it. That's everything that I've been doing. A couple rituals and tips and tricks that I wanted to leave you with to prepare for my wedding. Just fun little happies. And I love you. And I'll see you next week. And I can't wait for my On the Other Side POV. It's going to be epic. And I'm just so excited. I'm so happy you guys have been by my side step by step on this journey. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Love you. Bye. As always, I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in. If you feel so called or if it feels aligned, I would love for you to leave me a review here. I always love reading your beautiful thoughts and messages. And also you can find me at Anna Grace Newell on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And I will link all of my courses, AG University course curriculum in the show notes, along with if you're interested in booking an Akashic Records reading with me. My scheduling link goes out in my newsletter. It goes out once a month and it's completely free. I would love to have you there. As always, I'm a proud professor and you get an A+ for making it all the way through the end. Love you.